We're going to explore for loops in this program. For loops are really great when we know exactly how many times we need a loop to run. So I'll call this class for loop. Add some documentation to the top. And yes, we're going to learn how to make for loops. These are counter-controlled loops. We're going to have a variable that serves as a counter. And they are also pretest loops. We test a condition at the top of the loop. We'll also explore nested loops, loops inside of other loops. We'll have a for inside of another for. And we'll also look at some ways we can terminate loops early. We'll look at a break statement, which totally gets us out of a loop early. And I didn't write it here, but we're also going to look at a continue statement. Break statements are very handy if we're using a loop to search for something and we find it. Well, once we find it, there's no need to keep on looking through the loop. So we might want to break out of the loop. So we're going to make a loop run. Well, you can make it run as many times as you would like. In my example, I'll repeat something 20 times. So I know I want things to go 20 times. If you studied Visual Basic, you might remember for x as integer equals 1 to 20. Well, we do things a little differently in Java. We start with for and then parentheses. You can have that space there. I don't know why I took it away. There are three things inside here. We're going to initialize a variable to a starting value and then put a semicolon. We'll have a test or a condition that needs to be met, then a semicolon, and then we will update the variable, and then end the parentheses. Those are all separated by semicolons. A very common mistake is to separate them with commas. That will not work. Separate them with semicolons. So in this for loop, I'll say for int I, we often use I and j for counters, equals 0. So I initialize a variable, this time at 0. The condition to be met, I'm going to say as long as I is less than 20. And I want I++ for my update. I want it to go up by 1 every time. This should give us 20 iterations or 20 trips through the loop. If we start at 0 and we'll end at 19 because 20 is not less than 20, but 19 is. So I'll put a statement inside here to print. And I'll also print the variable I. That's our counter variable, so I can really see every trip through the loop, or every iteration of the loop. And I'll put the phrase peanut butter and jelly. When we run this, we've got it 20 times, starting with 0 all the way up to number 19. That's 20 times through the loop. I started at 0, and when it got to 20, 20 is not less than 20, so that didn't happen. Want to see 1 to 20 instead of 0 to 19, change the initial value and change the test or the condition that needs to be met. I'm going to go ahead and switch things back, but not a big deal. So I have it back going from 0 to 19. 20 times through the loop. I knew I wanted the loop to run 20 times, so a for loop was a great strategy to use. Let's look at a nested loop, a loop inside of another loop. I'll put a little message to display on the screen so we know that's what's happening. And we're going to loop through a deck of cards using suits and card values. There are 4 suits: clubs, diamonds, spades, and hearts. And there are 13 card values: ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, king, queen. So to go through the 4 suits, I'll initialize suit as an integer, int suit equals 0. The condition or test, suit needs to be less than 4, and we'll update the variable with suit++ to increment suit up by 1. So suit should be 0, 1, 2, and 3, and that will be it. But for every suit, I want to cover all 13 cards. So I'll declare another variable inside here, int card value, initialize it at 0. The test or condition is card value needs to be less than 13. That will give us card values going from 0 to 12. And to update, card value plus plus. We want to increment, go up by 1. In the documentation, I'm using a couple of words we often see with loops. Traverse, to go through, iterate, like one iteration is one trip through the loop. So I'm going to display each time here the suit and the card value. I'll separate them with some tabs, \T, the escape character. Guess I'll throw a colon in there. Not going to all fit on one line. It'll fit on one line in the display, but can't get my code all on one line, easy for you to see. So we're going to display the suit and the card value. Here we go. There they all are, all 52 of them. Suit starts at 0, and while it is 0, we go through all the card values. So suit's at 0, and here comes the card value from 0 to 12. Then suit changes to 1, and all the card values go through from 0 to 12. Same thing when suit goes to 2 and when suit goes to 3. So we have an outer loop, suit is 0, then the inside loop, card value is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, there were some audio issues there and had to do some cutting. Now we're going to do the same thing in column. Just get a blank line right here to separate what we did before from what we're doing now. So I'll print some headings, suit, and then I'll just use the tab escape character and also have card value. And I'll put some lines underneath them. I'm just going to use some equal signs. Try and make it look a little halfway decent. In fact, I'll check this out and see if it looks okay. Yep. So we'll print the suit and the card value in columns. I'll copy and paste this nested loop that we used before because it's the same idea. We'll have the suit be 0, then loop through all the cards, then make suit 1, loop through all the cards, etc. But simply going to display the value of the suit, use a tab, and then the card value. And there'll be nice, neat columns. Might make it easier to see that we have an outside loop and an inside loop. For every one iteration of the outer loop, there are 12 iterations of the inner loop. Excuse me, 13 iterations. There are 13 cards. It goes from 0 to 12.